Good evening. It's now 6:30, and I call to order the regular meeting of the Victoria City Council. It's our tradition to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, so we invite you to stand and join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The first item on our agenda this evening is announcements. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of our election judges and staff who assisted with the presidential primary election on Tuesday, March 5th. We could not successfully administer elections in our community without the dedication and hard work of both the staff and our election judges. So thank you to all of those folks. Earth Day is Monday, April 22nd this year, and to celebrate, we would like to invite everyone to join us at Council, as Council is hosting a community walk. We'll be leaving from City Hall on our community walk at 5:30 on Monday, April 22nd, and we'll be back in time for our council meeting at 6:30. So please feel free to join us on April 22nd. There are no other announcements this evening, so the next item on our agenda is proclamations, of which we have none this evening, and so we can adopt the final agenda. So council, I will take a motion to adopt the final agenda.
Motion to adopt the final agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on our agenda is the open forum. This is an opportunity for anyone to address the council on an item that's not on the agenda and not an application form that will be coming to the council at a future date. No one has registered to speak in advance, so if there's anyone who would like to address the council, please step forward. Seeing no one, we will move on to our consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are routine, administrative, and do not require deliberation, or are housekeeping items that are required by law. They're approved with one vote unless someone requests an item to be considered separately. Ms. Hardy, does staff wish to pull anything from the consent agenda?
None from staff, Madam Mayor.
Members of the council, anything to pull from the consent agenda item?
Yeah, I'd actually like to pull 5.7. This is the purchase of the 2 Freightliner cabs and a dump box for truck 116. Is that what we're doing?
5.7, thank you. Anybody in the audience that would like to pull an item? All right, seeing none, clerk, please let the record reflect that item 5.7 has been pulled for further discussion and separate vote. And I will,
Motion for the balance.
thank you. Can I get a, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Now on to item 5.7. Please, Councilmember Evansky.
If I believe what I understand is we're being asked to purchase a truck and dump box to replace a current, excellent, you're here. Perfect. Thank you so much. Dave, would you mind answering a couple of questions? I didn't see you sneak in, so welcome. Thank you.
Good evening. At the dais, or at the lectern this evening, lectern, that's not the right thing either. Podium, that's a podium, is Public Works Director Dave Shoger. Mr. Shoger, welcome.
Good evening, thank you.
So what I sense is we're trying to get ahead of the sort of delay that it takes to get a cab ordered through the production line and somewhat delivered.
Yes, that is exactly correct, sir.
And then this is an item that we have slated for 2025,
That is correct also,
but
yes.
we're trying to just sort of not put us in the same position that we were,
For the last
so
couple
to
of years.
speak, with that and with the fire truck, right?
Yes,
Because-
for the last couple of years, we've been hard against the economics and the manufacturing process in trying to source our equipment, and specifically these chassis that we're speaking about now have been very difficult to come by. We have the opportunity to put in for 2 chassis on the state bid currently, and we are slated to buy a second one next year also. So my intention in that staff report was to purchase both chassis this year, only outfit one of them this year, and then the second one would be outfitted next year.
Okay, so will we have the chassis, second chassis more or less arrive with the first one? Or
Yes, and
does
it'll
it
be
sit
delivered here, and we can either hold it here in storage, or we can actually take it to our outfitter, and they'll store it there for us as well, so.
Well, I mean, maybe another question I have is, would we consider outfitting that second chassis with a second dump box? I mean, I realize that we're talking about spending another $175,000 more. Do you have the resources, people-wise, to just accelerate that whole thing and place this into service and have the asset that we're purchasing be deployed to, you know, cover your business of making sure that the streets are plowed, et cetera, like that?
It would be my intention to, in a perfect world, yes, I would love to say that that would be a good idea. Finance Director Trish Pollock has suggested that this be the route that we take, so I certainly defaulted to her opinion on this. However, we also don't know exactly when the delivery date would be, so it might end up being that it would be closer to the end of the year anyway, so it may not be possible to even have it outfitted before the end of fiscal year 2024 anyway, the second one. So it kind of, go ahead, Dana, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Dave.
I was going to say, delivery date, we don't know when the delivery will be of them, so they still have to go through the manufacturing process. They're not very good about giving us a hard date on when we should expect them until we actually get put into line for those. We've got 2 positions that are slated for us currently, but we don't know anything until we've gotten the okay from you, and tomorrow hopefully would be the day that I could reach out to them and say, we are ready to go ahead with a purchase order and get that ball moving, and then we'll have a better idea of what the manufacturing process looks and the delivery date might be. So the best answer that I have is that I'm relying on Trish and Dana.
Ms. Hardy, she's got something she's dying to say here.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Councilmember Urbanski, I think I'm just going to help you out here, Dave, with Trish not being here. But I think what we could do is, should council approve the purchase as written here, what we would do is evaluate once we have the information that Mr. Shoger shared, that's mouthful, about when that gets delivered. We can see what season that is, what the needs are, what our staffing levels look like. And then if it looks like it's something we want to move forward in terms of outfitting, what I might suggest is that we bring back a separate item for you all to consider at that time. That also gives us the opportunity to look at our fund balance, as this is part of our capital funds. And so we want to make sure that we can cash flow everything, and we'll want to take a look at what that looks like before we make that commitment. But so I would suggest that if that's something that the council would be open to and interested in, if it aligns with everything that it needs to align, we would just bring that separate outfitting request back to council for your consideration.
Very good.
Okay, good, because, I mean, it's, I think it's probably rare for someone like you, for the council to say, go and spend more money than what we
Right,
otherwise would, but, you know, it does make sense to try to get ahead of the delays in ordering. It makes sense to lock in prices now, and it may merit taking a similar approach to outfitting that and get it on the streets and, you know, put people behind the wheel.
Absolutely.
You know, than have an asset sit waiting for things to get put into service. So if we can, as
That makes great
Madam
sense.
City Manager suggests, then I think it prudent, and we can face that
Revisit it
decision
when we
about
get to that place.
maybe
That makes
outfitting
sense,
that and getting that asset working for us quicker.
Very good.
But aside from that, those are my only concerns. I think that I'm aligned with what would have been on the consent agenda. I just want to bring some more clarity that I think that it makes sense if we can get that asset in service sooner, that we should do it.
Thank you, Councilmember.
I would also suggest that you ask for a BOGO special, since we're going to.
I think that's a great idea. Thank
I
you.
won that one. We'll see if that goes for us. I know Ms. Pollock would certainly appreciate that.
She might.
All right, seeing no other comments, questions from the council, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve what was formerly 5.7 on the consent agenda and move forward with the plan that staff has suggested, with also the, that staff will also look at accelerating potentially, if it makes sense, to outfit that truck and bring it onto the city's usable assets sooner and get it plowed.
Very good. Thank you, Councilmember Evansky. Can I get a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We are now moving on to our regular agenda. The first item this evening is item 6.1, to make appointments to our Planning Commission, Senior Advisory Committee, and Park and Rec Committee. Ms. Hardy, please kick us off on this.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. So at our previous workshop, I believe it was February 26th, you interviewed applicants for Senior Advisory as well as your Park and Recreation Committee. And this evening, just prior to our council meeting here this evening, you conducted interviews for your Planning Commission. These would be all for terms beginning April 1st, and then the term ends March 31st of 2025. In the staff background, there are a number of appointments that you will be considering for Parks and Recreation. You have 4 openings for 3-year terms, 1 student committee member opening. You did not have any student committee member applicants this year, so it would be the 4 openings, and there were 4 applicants for that position. Senior Advisory Committee also has 4 openings for 3-year terms, and you interviewed the 4 applicants that you had applied for those positions. And Planning Commission, there are also 4 openings. 2 openings for full voting member 3-year terms, and 2 openings for alternate members. Just a quick note on the alternate members. Alternate members do participate in all of the discussions with Planning Commission. They're seated at the dais, and they do participate in all Planning Commission meetings and discussions as necessary. However, when it comes time to vote, they would only vote if a regular voting member was absent. Then they would step in and be able to vote. Otherwise, they're more than welcome to, we encourage and expect them to attend all those meetings and be able to step in as necessary on voting. The reason that this is set up this way is because a lot of our development that comes through has kind of a clock that's set to it. There are timelines and statutory timelines that we need to meet with the applications that we receive. So it's important that we have full voting members and be able to meet as a quorum to make sure that we're handling developments as efficiently as possible and we're meeting those statutory timelines. So those alternates do play a very important role in the committee. I don't think I have anything else to add, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Very good. Any questions for staff on this appointment process from council? All right, seeing none. So to Ms. Hardy's point, we have interviewed 4 members for the Park and Rec Committee, and we have 4 applicants, and we have 4 openings. Our Senior Advisory Committee, we have 4 applicants and 4 openings. This evening, we interviewed 6 folks, 7 with our incumbent. Did I say that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm sorry, 5.
Absent.
Yeah, 5. We interviewed 5 applicants and an incumbent for 2 terms for Planning Commission members and 2 alternate positions. So we are looking to fill 4 positions on the Planning Commission. Okay, that was a lot, but I think we all understand what we're doing here. So because there is no discussion on Park and Rec Committee nor Senior Advisory Committee, I would invite the council to consider the Planning Commission members that we interviewed this evening. And we are looking for 2 folks to serve 3-year terms beginning April 1st. Our incumbent has served honorably, and staff would recommend reappointing him. So with that, typically what I would do is to say to the council, and if council is in agreement with this, pick your top 2 members from our interview process this evening, and we'll see if we've got consensus. If we do, then we'll move on to the alternate members. if that's agreeable to everybody. All right, very good. Okay,
Mayor,
council,
do we have consensus that we'll accept staff's recommendation to
that's a good
bring
point.
Mr. Sikora on as the incumbent to be seated in one of the open vacancies?
I'm seeing nods all around here, and so that would be one of our open positions. So we will appoint Mr. Sikora to that open, reappoint him to the Planning Commission. And then we are looking for one other planning commissioner for a 3-year term. And we'll see if we've got consensus. So based on the interviews tonight, I would recommend that we appoint Joseph Otterstetter into that open seat.
That's who I had.
That's who I had as well.
That's who I had as well.
All right, that looks like it's unanimous. So we will be appointing Benjamin Sikora and Joseph Otterstetter into the Planning Commission for 3-year terms, beginning April 1st. All right. Then the 2 alternate positions. So what we've done in the past is we've selected our alternates, and then the candidates that we feel have met all the criteria can be placed on deck. And basically what that means is if there's an opening in the alternate position, we will call them up. They don't have to go through the interview process because they've already done it, and we will move them into that alternate position because the alternate will move up into the Planning Commission. So there are no losers here this evening, thank goodness, because we had some excellent candidates, very well qualified. So, council, with that, I would suggest that we, again, try and get consensus on who the 2 alternates will be. My alternate suggestion are Nicholas Reiskamp. I think he said Reiskamp. I'm sorry about that, Nicholas. And my other would be Aaron Croth.
I had Aaron Croth and Matt Dopke.
Depke,
Okay.
okay?
I had Mr. Reiskamp and Mr. Dopke as candidates for the alternates.
Okay.
I had Matt Dopke and Aaron Croth.
Okay. And Councilmember Gunderson.
Dubke and Croth.
All right. It appears that we have consensus around Matt Depke and Aaron Croth as alternates. Is everybody in agreement there?
Agree.
Very good. And then we have Nicholas Reiskamp and Jason Otto on deck.
Do we have to rank those to say like who's first, right? Like who gets called up first?
That would be ideal. Councilmember Roberts, Mayor, members of the council, that would be ideal.
Okay, very good. Council, then I would say Nick first, Nick Reiskamp.
I'm fine with that.
Yep, I'm good with that.
I would concur that on deck 1 would be Mr. Otto.
Very good, thank you. All right, I think we've captured that properly. Please, Councilmember Roberts.
All right. Let's see here.
We're going to take 3 motions, so
Yep.
let's start with Park and Rec.
Okay, so let's start with Park and Rec. Okay. So let's see here. Make a motion to appoint Mary Larson, Larry Schultz, Jacob Paul, and Cam Wright to the Park and Recs Committee for 3-year terms beginning April 1st, 2024.
We have a motion, can I get a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Councilmember Roberts, please.
Make a motion to appoint David Kleinfelter, Susan Bill, Jack Luft, and Alina Passarelli to the Senior Advisory Committee for 3-year terms beginning April 1st, 2024.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Let's give the second to Councilmember Rife. We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Councilmember Roberts, please.
Making a motion to appoint Ben Sikora and Joseph Otterstetter to the Planning Commission for 3-year terms beginning April 1st, 2024. Do you want to do one at a time, or do we?
Can we do all of these together?
Okay, and then I also make an appointment to name Aaron Croth and Matt Dopek to the Depke, sorry, to the Planning Commission for alternate seats beginning April 1st, 2024. And I also make a motion to appoint Nick Reiskamp on deck number 1 and Jason Otto on deck number 2 for the Planning Commission.
Very good, thank you. We have a motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. There are no more items on our regular agenda this evening, Council. So with that, we'll move to reports and emerging issues. So Attorney Bose, any reports from you?
Mayor, Council, I don't have anything tonight to add.
Very good. Ms. Hardy, anything from you this evening?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. First, I just want to put in a plug for our Citizens Academy. So it is going to start in April and will go through the first week in May. Thursday evenings for 2 hours from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. So anybody who wants to get a sneak peek, kind of behind the scenes, interactive look at how the city operates, be able to get tours of all the different facilities. We really encourage people to sign up for that class. So registration is now open, and we are limiting registration to the first 12 applicants to make sure that we can keep our class size and the group size to the point where we can still be interactive. And so that seems to work really well for us. So that is at no cost and available to all of our community members. The second thing I have this evening is to pass the baton over to our city clerk, Ms. Lydia, who will share some information about the new artwork in the chambers.
Very good. Ms. Edisfold, please.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. We have our continued collaboration with Deb Zeller Studio, and we have new art from Miss Jennifer Stone. It is considered a watercolor, acrylic, collage, and mixed media set. And her art is available for purchase, and the art is on display for anybody to come and look at when we are open, 8 to 4:30, Monday through Friday.
Very good. Thank you. Beautiful new artwork here. Also, thank you to Deb Zeller's studio, and our artist again is Jennifer Stone. Thank you. Very good. Council members, any reports from council this evening?
Just a shout out to all the staff, election judges, and volunteers. Especially, I've got two 18-year-olds, first-time voters, so everything went smoothly. I know it's always a struggle for new voters, but everything went smooth, so great job.
Very good. Thank you for that. All right. Seeing nothing else and no more items to come before the body this evening, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Councilmember Roberts. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We stand adjourned.